Penguins Hockey on Root Sports is brought to you by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. You're better with Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, rated #1 for plan satisfaction. By Western PA Toyota Dealers. Now's the time to go places with Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com for special offers. And by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Time to get up on the feet and make it loud. Super Sunday starts right now. Please welcome your Pittsburgh Penguins.
One of only 2 home games sandwiched between 7 road games for the Penguins and the start of 4 straight Western Conference games for Pittsburgh here today against the second best team in the league, the Nashville Predators. And Bob Airey, in that well-deserved win on Friday night, the Penguins found a French connection on the blue line.
Wow, they really did. A lot of great defense in this game, but the big bruising Simon Dupre was able to get a shot through a screen, and he plays alongside Chris Letang. That was the first overtime goal for a Penguin defenseman since Chris Letang did it back in 2011 against the Canadiens, assisting on the last 7 Penguin goals. Letang has 39 points, only 3 behind Mark Giordano for that race.
And the Predators feature a couple of guys who could pick up some hardware at the end of the year.
Well, you talk about hardware. Shea Weber, 3-time Norris candidate, plus 18, 108.5. His slapper, and Philip Forsberg could win the Calder Trophy for Rookie of the Year. Leads in all categories, 42 points, a plus 24 for Forsberg.
Let's go down on the ice and join PA announcer Ryan Mill.
Former Pittsburgh Ice and Montour High School goaltender Arn Criswell. And now today's Trib hometown heroes. Please welcome Chuck Cooper III, CEO of the Chuck Cooper Foundation, and veterans Tim McCray, Master Sergeant, United States Air Force, William Jenkins, Specialist 4, U.S. Army, William Bynum, Private First Class, U.S. Army, and Dr. Edmund Effert, Colonel, United States Air Force. Please rise, remove your hats, direct your attention to the flag above the scoreboard. At this time, please welcome back the Penguins' own Mr. Jeff Jimerson, as together with one voice, he leads us in the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, burst the heavenly stream, and the brightest red of first year gave proof through the night that our flag
Penguins doing their part to honor Black History Month. Let's go down to where Rivers Casino sits the win.
Well, the real deal was Hornquist and Spalling for that man, James Neal. We'll see what happens this game this afternoon. That defense, Weber, Yossi, and company, they're the best in the league almost. And yeah, you got to get second chances if you're going to score. Doesn't matter if Pekka Rinne's not in the net. That man is for Pittsburgh this afternoon.
LaFleur, making his 10th straight start against the Predators, has been very good against them. This guy is not the goaltender who has really been the big reason why the Predators are the second best team in the league. Pekka Rinne still nursing a sprained knee, but Carter Hutton is in goal today. Our Hyundai starting goaltender for the Predators. And it'll be Brandon Sutter against Mike Fisher in the opening faceoff. Sutter with Spalling and Hornquist starting the game. And for the Predators, Fisher with Colin Wilson and James Neal starting the game, along with Yossi and Weber, and a steal by Spalling, and a shot blocked, and the rebound comes to Hornquist. He just couldn't corral it. And now it'll James Neal taking off up the right wing to center. And Neal into the Penguin zone, and offside is called on the Predators.
Now what a save there by Shea Weber. He was able to lay down horizontally on the ice. Roman Yossi turned the puck over on that Penguin forecheck. And there's the block by Weber early in this hockey game. Ironically, Yossi with 123 blocks leads the team, and they have been a great pair, Yossi and Weber, so far this season.
Now from the face-off at center, the puck is driven into the Penguin zone. Eric Pouliot has been recalled from Wilkes-Barre. He is in the lineup and on the ice right now for the Penguins. There's a hit by Robert Bortuzzo down there in the corner on one of the Predators. Eric Nystrom. Bortuzzo pries the puck free and gets it to Sidney Crosby. He finds Derek Pouliot, who goes ahead to Kunitz. He had a step on Weber, but then lost the puck. Now he moves it in behind the net. Crosby there. Quickly sends it out to the right point, and Bortuzzo. His shot sails over the goal. David Perron there. And now it is Taylor Beck getting to center, but right ahead of him was Kunitz to work it back to Derek Pouliot.
Mike Johnson didn't like the start of his team last weekend in an afternoon tilt, and he expected them to be ready to start this one here this afternoon, and they look like they are hopping.
LaPierre on the ice, playing his first home game with the Penguins, number 40. Max LaPierre playing with Bo Bennett and Steve Downey. Drop pass by Ribeiro. Bo Bennett, who was a healthy scratch against the Devils, working hard on this shift right now. Try to take the puck away from Philip Forsberg, but the Predators maintain possession and go D to D. Seth Jones, big, strong defenseman, comes down the wing. Centers directed right on net, and a save made by Marc-Andre Fleury, and a great opportunity there with the Predator driving to the goal, Craig Smith. And Fleury made the save, and a nice setup by Seth Jones.
Well, Seth Jones, Popeye Jones, his dad, the great hoopster. And look at that backhand chance there by Smith. Talk about an honest hockey player. You talk about Craig Smith, who's played for his country in the World Championship several times. Didn't get the nod for the Olympic team last year, but he's a 27-point man so far, Craig Smith, this season.
Calle Jarnkrok is out here to take the face-off against Mark Marcabello from the draw. The Penguins able to get control of it. It'll be carried out now to the line by Paul Martin, who backhands it down into the Nashville zone. Taken there by defenseman Matthias Ekholm, and around the boards it goes. And the Penguins able to keep it in. Good work there as they got in good defensive position. Craig Adams now back in there on the forecheck, but the Predators send it up the boards. And a battle there on the half wall. And it's controlled now by Volchenkov, who feeds it to the right wing, and Gabriel Bourque, who banks it off the boards into the Penguin zone. Arcabello handed it off to Craig Adams, stopped up nicely to work it up the wing for Zach Silva. It's taken away now by Cullen. His shot is stopped by Fleury, and the rebound chopped wide by Matt Cullen. Cullen has had good numbers in his career against Pittsburgh, and veteran winger, a forward, centerman most of the time, 36 years old.
Well, with Carolina and the Rangers, he was always seemed to put up the points.
This is Roman Yossi into the Penguin zone. His shot off a stick and then off the glass. Ribeiro couldn't get to it. Good work by Hornquist to take it away, and now Sutter feeds it ahead to Hornquist, who dumps it right to the net, and the bouncing puck is scooped up by Carter Hutton.
A lot of skill in this Nashville team, and they have the defense. Ribeiro leads the team in points. Watch this. It's an elevation pass to the hand between the legs, Staggy. A little hoop-type play for Mike Ribeiro, who leads the Nashville Predators with 43 points. He started the season playing with Neal. Those two played together in Dallas, but since the lines have been switched up there. And James Neal's been playing with Mike Fisher. Mike Fisher back after that bad Achilles injury. He's on the ice right now.
Missed 21 games, and he's been very productive since returning to the lineup for the Predators. Playing with Wilson and James Neal. Sidney Crosby works the corner, centers for Kunitz. And the Predators did a good job to pack the house there and prevent that play from being made. And now the puck is dumped in by Colin Wilson. Rink wide now for Crosby with speed, coming ahead with Perron. Crosby swooping in, drops it off. Kunitz with the shot. It's blocked. And Kunitz just kind of delayed a moment to shoot that puck and then had it blocked. And now Ekholm just pushes it up towards the Penguin zone and turns and goes to the bench. Both teams with a shift change here as it's taken by Rob Scuderi.
I like the chemistry on that last shift between Kunitz and Crosby. Kunitz with the outlet pass, and Crosby, once he gained the line because of Perron's center drive, Kunitz had a long time to get that puck and make a play.
Gabriel Borkin on the forecheck against Derek Pouliot, who worked it up the wall. Max Lapierre couldn't get to it, and a slap shot taken by Jarnkrok is blocked up into the netting behind Marc-Andre Fleury. And take a look at our barrel leaders, and what a month it's been for Chris Letang, who's climbing the ladder in the scoring race among defensemen in the NHL.
15 assists in that month. Now only 3 points behind Mark Giordano. We'll see him in Calgary next week.
Yeah, and by then, maybe after that game is over, Chris Letang will be leading all defensemen in scoring. Certainly the way he's been going, that could be a possibility. Penguins will play the Oilers on Wednesday and then the Flames. Here's Josi with it now at the point. He shoots it and it's blocked. Turning with it now is Forsberg to Josi. The one-timer, and he scores. It may have been deflected in.
It was. 63, Ribeiro got a stick on it.
Well, are you surprised, Bob? Because he gets a point at least in every game he plays against Pittsburgh, it seems.
No, Josi was was so open there. There was nobody out there. Watch how the Penguins forwards clap here. The forward down, he claps on Forsberg. Look at all the room here. And then there's the stick, I believe, of Ribeiro. Just to put that stick out right there and redirected that puck. You saw that Simon Dupre was there as well, but I believe it was Ribeiro's stick that changed the direction of that puck. Tough to see on that replay. And nonetheless, 1-0 here for Nashville. They get on the board first.
And that would be the 10th goal and 28th point in 24 games against Pittsburgh for Mike Ribeiro. He just loves playing against the Penguins. Now it's Paul Gausted deep in his own zone, and he backhands the puck out to center. He was off to a good start, I thought, in this game, with good energy, but the Predators end up with the first goal. And the Predators were really good when they allowed the first goal or when they scored, so it really doesn't make much difference to them. And of course, the Penguins have been a good team regardless of allowing the first goal as well, but not what you wanted to do today at home against Nashville if you could avoid it.
Nope. And one more look at the goal. The Penguins are collapsed down. There's the lane. Ribeiro reaches out with a stick, and I saw the puck change as Fleury's expecting it towards his glove. It goes over the glove, and just a sneaky little redirect. Oh, there's a good look at it there, guys. Yeah, Ribeiro, who is taping his stick on the bench because that puck. You asked me about, the other night, Staggy. Why do you tape your stick? Well, there's another occasion right there. That puck damaged the tape job on Ribeiro's stick, and he had to redirect. He had to retape that stick after that. They've given it right now to Josi, but I can tell you, Ribeiro redirected that. And there's Nashville when they score first, 17-1-4. Pretty impressive. 13-1-2 and leading after one.
From the draw, Kunitz works it out to Scuderi. Now it's broken up, and Scuderi threw it right back into the zone, but the Predators come right back to center. On the left wing, it's Wilson. Colin Wilson with Fisher driving to the net. Goes in around the cage. And he's bumped over there by Crosby, but worked it back into the corner to Fisher behind the net for Neal. Good stick work down there by Scuderi to keep it away from James Neal, though. And Rob Scuderi able to find Chris Kunitz in the neutral zone. Nice pass to Crosby. And Sid stops up, looks back, finds Scuderi. Wrist shot! Save made by Carter Hutton, and he's able to somehow corral that puck as he juggled it off his chest.
Go to the net, get to the net, get in front of this Hutton. See what he's got, 6'1". Not as big as Pecorine. Not many yards, 6'5". And there you see Kunitz right in front where he was when Dupre scored, and from our Super Bowl presented by Allegheny Health Network. On the last break, Mike Ribeiro was right beside me on the bench. I looked over at him, Staggy. I said, "You touched that?" He said, "Maybe." So a stick was out there. I know the Penguins had a stick out there as well. I think it was Simon Dupre's stick. And whether it's changed or not, it did redirect a little bit on Marc-Andre Fleury.
I trust your eyes, Bob. I do. Now the puck taken by Derek Pouliot behind the goal. And Pouliot skated with a lot of confidence in the last game he played for the Penguins against the Chicago Blackhawks. He was outstanding at 20 minutes of ice time prior to the All-Star break. Went back to Wilkes-Barre where the Baby Penguins had won 4 in a row after losing 6-2 last night to Lehigh Valley. Pouliot gaining confidence with every game he plays. Now the puck is dumped in by Bortuzzo and it's handled by Hutton, and he'll hand it off to Ekholm. Matthias Ekholm, a 4th-round pick in 2009 of the Predators, who are coached by Peter Laviolette, who has a very good record here in this building in his career. He's a member of the Flyers, their coach, and also Carolina. Coming to center, it is Spalling. He looks for Hornquist, who was closely checked by Seth Jones. Now Gabriel Bourque hops out of his own zone. The Predators probably very determined here today. They lost 3-0 in their last game to Colorado. And they look like they've got good energy. Here's a chance up front. They score. And it was Gabriel Bourque on a turnover, just slamming that puck past Fleury to make it 2-0.
Well, Simon Dupre tried to go up the middle of the ice. It worked to Spalling the first time on this shift 20 seconds ago, but when Dupre tried to go up the second time, you got to make sure that you make the play tape to tape. He's on his wrong side. Letang and Dupre got switched up here, and he tried to go out to Spalling. It wasn't a tape-to-tape play, and Bourque, boy, was he able to step into that. No chance for Marc-Andre Fleury. Went off the skate of that forechecker. You could see as Dupre tried to hit Spalling with the pass, and when it doesn't work, that's a bad place to turn it over, I must say.
Well, a tough spot for the Penguins to be in, down by 2. And remember, we talked about that Blackhawks game. They were down 2-0 to the Chicago Blackhawks. Came back and were able to at least get a point in a shootout loss. You know, the Predators with a great record. The only thing they have maybe that's vulnerable is the man in goal. And I only say that because he's not Pekka Rinne. Now the puck is dumped to the corner by Sills. Predators have allowed more goals since Rinne went out. They are 2-2-2 in the 6 games without him. There's a steal by Crosby, cutting in, trying to get to the backhand. Josi cut him off with a pass, but he drops it off. Bortuzzo with a shot and a blocker save made by Hutton. Now it's taken by Kunitz into the corner for Crosby. Centered again. Kunitz there, and he was off balance as he tried to shoot it. Maintains possession and works it out to the point to Pouliot. Derek Pouliot with the shot and a save made, and the rebound. Kunitz trying to get to it, but it's the Predators who were able to get it and clear it.
Harley had no stick there. The Penguins took advantage of it, just unable to score, just offside at the blue line here.
Well, the Predators have jumped out to a 2-0 lead, taking advantage of a turnover to take that 2-goal lead in the game. James Neal has scored 16 goals this season. And there you see what he did with the Pittsburgh Penguins at 199 games, 89 goals, a +25. He cashed in for 40 goals in the 11-12 season. One of the real snipers in the game, James Neal. And he was good enough that the Penguins were able to go get 2 players in return for him to add to their depth. Players that look like they fit right in with the Penguins in terms of their playoff desire. Here's Hornquist to the corner along with Sutter. Sutter tried to come out of the corner with it. It wandered off his stick. Carrying it back now to center ice. There's Bostad. He dumps it in behind where Dupre sent it up the wall for Spalling. He kept it moving out to center. And there's Ekholm going back forward for the Predators. Skating well as he sees a lot of ice ahead of him. The Penguins were changing, and Ekholm able to carry that puck into the zone. Shoots it, and the stick save made by Fleury. Then Letang quickly turned it up the right wing boards for Perron. Into the middle now for Crosby. It was cut off nicely by the Predators as they defended well in the neutral zone. It was a good play there by Yarncroke, and then he took the return pass from Cullen and let it go off the stick. Then Cullen came out from behind the net on a wraparound attempt, and Fleury had to be ready for that. It was a quick play by Matt Cullen. He almost scored. But now Kunitz dumps the puck into the corner. Seth Jones is there. Kunis took it away. Steps in front, and Perron tried to jam one in. Now to the left side, and Pouliot. He'll feed it in behind. Perron fell down. Cullen had trouble, or Jones had trouble too, maintaining his balance. Crosby and Bortuzzo look at one another. Bortuzzo carries the puck to the corner, sends it around to the far wing where it's taken by Downey. Downey backhands it back into the near corner. Crosby's tired. He goes to the bench. And now taken by Jarnkrok.
Good double shift there by Mike Johnson, trying to keep Crosby away from Weber and Yossi Staggy, as well as Mike Fisher. They can use him as a checking centerman against that line if they wish, the Predators.
Wilson with it. And Colin Wilson's having a good year with 15 goals. He's got 5 goals and 13 points in his last 12 games. Another chance here for the Predators. Neal let it go, but Paul Martin got up in front of him and blocked it. Martin with 81 blocks now, including that one right there on James Neal. Now Downey falls down. He looks around for his stick as the puck is handled behind the net and taken by Victor Bartley, and he'll snap it out to center to Neal. Neal trying to get around the defense. Could not get around Scuderi, who hung him up nicely so that the Penguins could get possession, and Max Lapierre comes with speed to center. Lapierre into the Nashville zone, fires it wide. Craig Smith trying to clear. Dupre got in front of that. Now Smith with another crack at it, working it out to neutral ice. Letang takes the pass from Hornquist and dumps it up into the left wing corner. Seth Jones back to get it. Ekholm sent it up the wall. And now it's Philip Forsberg ahead to Matt Cullen. Cullen into the Penguin zone on his off wing is bumped by Letang. Sent it behind the net. Dupre there. Stolen away from him momentarily by Mike Ribeiro, but the Penguins able to take it back. Good work by Sutter down low to get it ahead to Hornquist, who steers it up into the Nashville zone while the Penguins are changing. Roman Josi leaves it for Ekholm. Kunitz in on the forecheck. Penguins complete their change. And down the wing comes the defenseman Josi with a slap shot. And that one missed the net on the glove side of Fleury. Taken now by Kunitz. Try to get into the middle to Crosby. It comes back to Bortuzzo. Into the middle now for Kunitz. As Kunitz goes towards Pouliot, who had moved up from his defensive position, went off his skate. Now it's Perron with it, and he'll wrist it in behind the net for Crosby. Sid is bumped from behind, but maintains possession. And finds his man at the point, Pouliot. Everyone's maintained possession here, but they can't get the puck to the net. Good defending here by the Predators right now. Bortuzzo with it. Man just came off the bench. And that is Dax Sill. Sill protecting the puck against 2 Predators. Comes out of there with it. Bumped by Weber. Sent it back to the point with Pouliot. Lifts it up off the glass. He tried to get it into the corner, and it came right back into the Penguin zone. Good defending in the defensive zone. Coverage by the Predators.
Yeah, they had Forsberg, that young rookie who's so talented. He was drafted 11th overall in 2012 from the Caps. What a steal there, and they had Weber and Josi on the ice that time against the Crosby unit.
Arcabello comes on for Pittsburgh, but they pass the puck by him, and it's a right wing pass to Cullen, who's hopping out here right now in the first period. Dropped it off for Jarnkrok. Good read there by Sill to break it up. Now he tries to get to the puck. He and Adams go to work on the wall right in front of Bob Ehret. Keep your head down, Bobby.
I'm not going to be digging in for this puck right now.
Sill is working so hard, he finally wins the battle. Now he'll go to the bench for a well-deserved rest. Paul Martin over to Rob Scuderi. Lapierre jumping into the Nashville zone. Bringing energy, exactly what the Penguins want from him. He and Bo Bennett and Steve Downey on the end. Bennett with a solid body check, and Downey ends up with a puck. Then he lost it. And the Predators go the other way. Go quickly in transition.
Go! Quick pace to this game here right now. These teams ready for the afternoon tilt for the Super Bowl, and time now for the Penguins to make their goal line stance.
Puck rolled off the stick of Forsberg and is cleared by Bo Bennett. He's playing on that off wing again here today. And now following on is Lapierre. And he'll come to the blue line, fake a shot, get himself free, shoots, and it's off the goalpost. It almost went in. And that was a hard wrist shot too by Lapierre. He's taken a couple of those here in the first period. Didn't know that he could shoot the puck like that. Here's Ribeiro with it. And Ribeiro dangling, looks for Wilson cutting through, and he just missed on that play. And now Spaulding comes ahead with speed into the Nashville zone. Back for Sutter and across. The shot by Hornquist sailed over the goal to the glass. 6:07 remaining in the first period. The crowd starting to come alive a little bit after that chance by LaPierre. With a little bit more energy, and now Neal takes the lead pass. In the Penguin zone, the Predators' Mike Fisher is checked by Robert Bortuzzo. With the crowd now, they're coming to life on their own. Get the Penguins going here as they're down 2-0 in the first period. 6 shots for the Predators, 5 for the Penguins. Yossi's lead pass tipped in by Taylor Beck and taken by Rob Scuderi. Sends it hard around where it's handled by Kunitz. Kunitz wanted to get it through to Crosby. Sid's offside. Kunitz drops it back now to Scuderi. Over to Paul Martin.
Long time without a whistle here, Staggy. I mean, these Penguins have double shifted the Crosby line a couple of times here. Seems like we've gone over 5 minutes anyways, guys, without a whistle. Really good pace game.
Now it's Kunitz on the near wall. He's bumped. Crosby came off the boards. Checked again by Ekholm. Penguins have done their best to maintain possession of the puck in the offensive zone, but the Predators have been there at every turn to prevent the Penguins from getting to the net.
They don't get the icing here, the Penguins, so you got to get a quick change.
Talk about tempo. Peter Laviolette likes his teams to play an up-tempo style. This does reflect the way he coaches. And of course, Mike Johnston wants the same from the Penguins. Here's Simon Dupre driving it wide of the net, off the boards. Zach Sill trying to get in there first, and he does. Works it up the wall for Arcobello, and out of the point to Letang. His shot, and that's deflected away from the net. But Zach Sill could hit him as he tried to drive to the net. Or a rebound or a deflection. Now it's taken on the wing by Cullen again. Cullen with speed down the wing, fakes the shot, and stripped of the puck by the trailer. Chris Letang, who had gotten back into the play, and he finds Simon Dupre. Ahead for Arcobello, who tips it into the Nashville zone. Glove down there by Hutton. Over to the corner. Out they come. Forsberg. Turn it into the middle. Up the wing, Downing. Able to dump it in. 3:49 to go in the period. Josi to the puck. LaPierre converged on him, and he hit his own teammate, who's shaken up on the play. It's Bo Bennett, who was hit by his own teammate on that play, dragging himself back to the bench.
Bo Bennett missed the last game, held his scratch. He's not feeling too good right now. Too many men on the ice here for Pittsburgh. Bo Bennett didn't get off the ice here. The Penguins had 5 on the ice plus Bennett. They're going to have to kill a penalty after LaPierre rung this one off a couple of posts that looked like behind Hutton.
Everybody on their feet to honor the Tuskegee Airmen who are in attendance here. And they are watching the game from one of the boxes. They were dedicated, determined young men who enlisted to become America's first black military airmen. And the outstanding record of black airmen in World War II was accomplished by men whose names will forever live in hallowed memory. These airmen fought 2 wars, one against the military force overseas and the other against racism at home and abroad. The Tuskegee Airmen in attendance here today. David Perron is in the box. The Penguins are shorthanded and the Predators lead 2-0. So now it's Brandon Sutter taking the puck away and clearing it. The Predators, even with Shea Weber in their lineup and Philip Forsberg and James Neal, are ranked 25th on the power play, but don't be fooled totally by that stat because they've got 13 power play goals in their last 15 games. Fisher has actually made a difference on the power play. He's been scoring with a man advantage. He's got 3. And he's got the puck right now. Fisher out to Weber. And the shot taken by Josi is deflected in on net. Now Weber with it. Josi moves it to the right side. Forsberg to Josi. Weber, the blast, and that one off the side of the net. He shot the puck 108 miles an hour at the skills competition in Columbus. Now it's Sutter racing over nicely to get to the puck and make sure that he got it all the way down the ice.
Well, much like when Ovechkin's on the ice, you have to take the shot away from Weber. Let somebody else beat you out here on that power play. Seth Jones carrying the mail here.
Jones, tremendous confidence, stutter stepping as he goes around Letang. Now behind the net, Wilson moves it up to Ribeiro. Second power play unit on, and Ribeiro's on that. Along with Wilson, and Craig Smith, Seth Jones, and Matthias Ekholm. Adams and LaPierre, Martin and Letang for the Penguins right now with 23 seconds to go on the power play. Jones. He set it up with Ekholm going right down to the slot, and they go into Jones, a shot, and he hit the goalpost. Man, that was a well-set play by the Predators there.
I know, I couldn't believe Wilson didn't take some of that. He had a lane if he wanted.
Now the shot by Jones again. This one blocked by LaPierre, I believe. And Adams, there's a broken stick on the ice. David Perron's out of the box. He's on the ice. Weber moves up. Now it's Craig Smith taking it. Smith wheels the puck in behind the goal for Ribeiro to Wilson. Colin Wilson with it now. Out to Weber. He tees it up and lets it go. And that was off the right skate of Max LaPierre, who checked his skate after blocking that shot. Predators continue to hound the puck here. Finally, Paul Martin coolly stick handles his way out of danger. Uses the wall to get it up into the Nashville zone.
Yeah, LaPierre's grimacing coming off the ice after taking that Weber shot off his ankle. LaPierre hit a crossbar / goalpost as well, and he hit Bo Bennett. He's still off the ice.
Bennett went down the runway. Ekholm was hit by Bortuzzo as he tried to come over the line. He didn't like that, and no penalty. Just offside. We'll be back. 2-0 Predators. Coming up in the intermission, presented by your neighborhood Ford store with Paul and Jay. Dan Potash will visit with Max LaPierre. Playing in his first home game for the Penguins. He just hit Bo Bennett by accident.
Yep. Bo Bennett is back on the bench for Pittsburgh. That's a good sign in this last minute. It's been a tough period really for Simon Dupré, who was a hero in New Jersey scoring the overtimer. He may have indeed deflected the first goal in himself, and a turnover on the second led to the Bork marker. 2-0 Nashville here as we get to the end of this first period of play.
Rob Scuderi goes back for the puck with 28 seconds to go in the period. He lifts it off the glass. Kunitz try to get control of it. The Predators keep it in, but now Paul Martin has control. He sends it ahead for David Perron with a stretch pass. He'll wheel it up into the right wing corner. Crosby on the puck. Throws it in front. Kunitz going to the net, and Weber was right there to check him. Now it's Kunitz with it one more time. To Crosby. 7 seconds to go in the period. And the Predators able to get it down the ice, and that'll do it.
12 shots in this first period of play. 7 for the Preds, 5 for Pittsburgh, and 2 goals off a deflection and a turnover against Marc-Andre Fleury. And the Pens, who came out with some hop on their stride, were matched by the Preds.
Let's go to Paul and Jay.
All right, Staggy and Bob, thank you very much. And Jay, obviously, we wonder now about the status of Bo Bennett and a 2-goal deficit. A couple of things the Penguins have to deal with right now.
Yeah, you know, I watched. We saw Nashville early in the year. Pittsburgh really, took it to them there. I thought Nashville tonight came out first period again pretty even early on. Then Nashville just pretty aggressive, working hard, aggressive on their forecheck. Their third line very effective, but big on obviously that second goal. So.
Tough today, Penguins with a 2-goal deficit. When we come back on our first admission report, Max and LaPierre will speak with Dan Potash straight ahead, right here on Root Sports. Nashville 2, Penguins nothing after 1 period of play. What a difference a game makes. It was a huge game winner for Simon Dupré on Friday. A rough start today, guys.
Yes, Paul, it can be a humbling game, can it, Bob Airy? For any player, you can't be reading your press clippings for too long because you got another game to play and you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and a guy like Simon Dupré scores that winner in overtime against the New Jersey Devils. And yeah, it was great. It was a fantastic day. Couldn't have been any better. And then today, well, it couldn't be any worse, really. He was involved in the first goal, and this is the second goal. Now, Dupré, there's Letang on the left side, Dupré on the right. They're supposed to be flip-flop. They should be switching right now. Letang's looking. I want to switch. Come on, let's switch now. Come on, Simon, now. No, Dupré is saying, hey, I played the right side most of the year. I'm not even looking to switch. And when the puck comes back here, the puck comes back to Dupré. He tries to go up the middle of the ice instead of along the wall, and that leads to the second goal. Not a good turnover, not a wise decision for Simon Dupré, but I think it could have been the switch at the other end should have been made, Staggy. That's where the bad decision was made that led to the goal in their own zone.
And you're right about Dupre. He's played the right side with Rob Scuderi all year long. Now he's been paired up with Chris Letang. Mike Johnston talked about that pairing the other day, yesterday after practice, about how they just decided to put the two of them together with Ehrhoff on the shelf, and they liked what they saw in New Jersey, but not a good period for those two, or especially for Simon. Today's face-offs are presented by the new face of Northwood Realty Services. The Penguins are 16-3-2 when they win the face-off battle. And they were down 54 to 46% after one period of down 2-0 on the scoreboard.
You're just looking at the face-offs. Sidney Crosby was 1 win and 4 losses, and Maxim Lapierre 1-1. Lapierre was 71% in his second game for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He hit the crossbar / goalpost in the first period of play, looking for his first point as a Penguin.
From the draw to start the second period. Penguins go D to D. It's Paul Martin coming to center. Feeds it into the middle. Brandon Sutter stripped of the puck. James Neal looks up. He tried to headman the puck to Fisher. It goes up into the Penguin zone. Scuderi back to get it. Fisher's on him. Back around near side. Volchenkov couldn't hold it in. Carter Hutton played in the trapezoid away from Brandon Sutter.
Hornquist starts the period, Staggy. Only 3 minutes and 36 seconds in the first period for Patrick Hornquist, the ex-Predator.
Sutter moves it back to the point, taken there by Paul Martin. Hornquist turns and shoots it high over the goal and back to the near corner where it's flipped out on the backhand by Wilson and then handled defensively by Chris Letang to Simon Dupre. Long pass, Crosby, nice pass over to Perron. Perron with that nifty move to the goal, and he goes plowing right into the goaltender because he was pushed from behind by Volchenkov as he went to the net. And it'll be interesting to see if Carter Hutton got shaken up on this play because Perron took the puck right to the hoop and he got nailed from behind by Volchenkov.
I wasn't sure if it was Gostad or Volchenkov.
You might be right. It may be Gostad.
Might have been Gostad, but I got to tell you, it was one slick move, wasn't it? As he took that pass on his forehand, he was able to slip it between his legs here to walk around the defender. And then just Gostad, it was coming back through the center position, barreled him right into his own netminder Hutton, and he went in. The puck didn't. What a slick move by David Perron, and he's wincing coming off to the ice after taking that hit.
We've seen him try that move before, where he passes the puck between the legs as he comes down the wing, a la Alexei Kovalev. Gostad wears 28, Volchenkov 20 now. Now we have a face-off to the left of Hutton, and it'll be taken by Max Lapierre. Dupre to the backhand, moves it in behind the net. Bo Bennett on the ice for the Penguins, along with Lapierre and Downing. Letang chops one wide of the goal. Bennett races over to get it, reverses it back into the corner. Lapierre to Dupre to Letang. Now for Downey. Letang steps up. Predators able to clear. Dupre will go back for it, and it is icing against Nashville. You can tweet the booth at Root Sports Pit. Use the hashtag PensBooth. Brought to you by Point Park University.
Bo Bennett also was able to come back here and play in the second period after being hit by Lapierre. There's Steve Downey. He's a little cut up above that left eye.
Slap shot taken by Letang, kicked away by Carter Hutton. Kunis trying to get to the rebound. Brought to center though by Taylor Beck. Works it to the right wing. Driving in down the off wing was Yossi, the defenseman, and he was able to get a shot off. Fleury making the save on him, and now we got a penalty coming up. It's going to be against Nashville, so the Penguins get their first power play chance. Down 2-0.
A hockey call. Taylor Beck going to the box here for the Predators. Penguins certainly need to get on the board here quickly. As Letang is playing the puck behind his own zone, you can see that stick right in on the waist and the stomach and under the arm. Letang made sure it was noticed under that arm as he clamped down on it a little bit.
Crosby, Kunitz, Hornquist, Perron, and Letang on the power play for the Penguins. Perron to Letang. Over to Sid. Hornquist is in front. Kunitz in the slot. Letang shoots the puck at a glove save made by Hutton, and he holds on to it.
Now, Sidney Crosby won a draw to Perron. He won it clean on the one-timer for Perron. Normally, Crosby goes to the wall, but he looked over at Perron there and said, shoot that puck. Bang, right there. Let it go. Shot first mentality. That's how we won over. We tied the game against the Devils. I win that draw over there to your tape. You got to rip that puck, Mr. Perron.
I was thinking the same thing. He was wide open when he got it right off the draw. He said he passed it to get the power play going in motion.
Why win the faceoff clean like that, though? That's a big faceoff when you got to take advantage of it.
Here's Kunitz down the wing, trying to feed it through for Crosby. And now Kunitz takes it, snaps it to the right point. Letang with a shot pass, and it was almost redirected in. Boy, he had that set up beautifully, but just couldn't pull off, execute it. Now Letang has it stolen away. Gabriel Bourque with speed to the goal, and he shot it just wide on a shorthanded opportunity.
Letang all the way back, Staggy, from a standstill to get a stick on Bourque after that turnover at the far blue line.
Here's Letang again, lugging the puck ahead with 1:02 to go on the penalty to Taylor Beck of the Predators. Letang drives it in, and Hutton scrambles out of the net nicely to stop it behind the goal for Roman Josi. And he's able to turn it all the way down the ice. Penguins' second unit is on now. Paul Martin, Bo Bennett, Brandon Sutter, Eric Pouliot, Steve Downing. Bennett just got hooked, tripped up, and there was no call on the play. That could have been another penalty against the Predators. Now it's taken by Paul Martin, and Martin over to Pouliot. To Bo Bennett. Bennett sets it up from the right wing wall to Martin. 18 seconds on the penalty. It's Sutter, rather. Sutter with the puck. Bennett's on the near side. Bo Bennett with the shot. It's off a leg wide. Taken now by Pouliot. Back over for Sutter. Brandon Sutter works the corner. Sends it in behind for Downing. Now to Bennett. Back across. Pouliot takes the shot. He looks so good out there at the point. Now goes to Bo Bennett. Penalty's over. The shot goes through the paint. Paul Martin corrals it. Pouliot wants the puck. Pouliot with a wrist shot. He just threw it in there on the rebound. Bo Bennett couldn't jam it home. Puck is kicked free, and the Predators will get possession. You can really see why Pouliot is considered a really great power play specialist.
He can make plays with his head up. In motion, just gliding, making those plays. Sidney Crosby on that power play. There's a shot pass. Crosby down to one knee, unable to track it through the body and get it in on the net. And then Chris Letang was able to make a play defensively as well, Staggy. After he made this play, the turnover, he gets himself back and he just gets a stick on Bourque right at the last second there. Just disturbs things a little bit. A lot of yapping going on for the Penguins bench, and referees saying, hey, enough, let's get the change and let's get this thing going. Downey took a couple of whacks on that last shift in front of the net by Shea Weber, and he's looking at his right hand right now as he goes to the Penguins bench. You got to pay a price to get in the front of the net there.
How would you describe the play in this game, Bob, with the low shot totals that we've had? Here's a chance now for Lapierre stepping in.
I think it's well played. It's just tight checking. It's been a fast-paced game. There's been a lot of space to make plays out here in this hockey game. And you really have to, it's really just been the mistakes of the Penguins that have cost them.
Marcabello shooting the puck high and wide. Letang over to the puck.
Tough to get to the middle of that ice.
Lapierre with it. Now it's Dupre with a wrister, and that was stolen away. Dupre took too long to shoot it, and now a breakaway chance for Smith, and he shot it off the blocker of Fleury. I think he just got a piece of that.
We got a whistle, Staggy. At the other end of the ice, Volchenkov is going to get called for interference as his teammate had a breakaway going the other way. It was blown down.
Nashville, number 20, 2 minutes interference.
Wow.
They really got to break the Penguins here, and Simon Dupre had a shot blocked. It was a breakaway going against Marc-Andre Fleury. Take a look. Dupre's trying to glide to the middle. Still, that shot is blocked. And Smith all the way in there. Well, the whistle was already blowing there before he took the shot, because the other way, Volchenkov got called for interference. Mark Arcabello shoved into the cage. So a lucky change of events there for Pittsburgh.
UPMC Sports Medicine power play for the Penguins. They're 0 for 1. That's a bad penalty for the Predators. They often lead to power play goals against.
So instead of the Reds trying to go up 3-0, the Penguins could narrow it to 2-1 here. It's a big moment.
Perron drops it off to Letang. Ahead to Crosby, who tried to feed it to the right wing. Paul Gosted out here killing the penalty for Nashville, number 28. Very effective defensive forward. Hornquist trying to go back to the point. Kunitz over to help out, gets it to Letang. And now to Perron, the slap shot. Over to Kunitz, a shot. And Hutton reaches out with a glove. Kunitz found that puck coming towards him. He just tried to redirect it softly to the goal, and Hutton able to make the save.
Perron was looking for that shot pass again. Look at this play, Letang to Perron. He's looking backdoor to Crosby. He's looking for a stick. And it just came slowly over to Kunitz, and that allowed the goaltender Hutton to come across on a shot that was destined for the corner anyway. So Pittsburgh just trying to get pucks to the net and trying to get that bounce.
From the draw. Hard work here off the faceoff. The Penguins are able to get possession, but now they turn it over. And it's going to be taken down the right wing. It's going to be a hooking penalty here against Crosby on Fisher, who was going after the puck to the corner. So that'll negate the Penguins' power play. Sidney Crosby, the guilty player, or was it Perron?
It was
Perron who was actually the guilty player for hooking Fisher.
Penalty for hooking.
Well, another turnover, and there's the stick. Right into the waist there, Perron, and then he dropped the stick. Fisher was going in on the 2-on-1, almost a partial breakaway from the right side. And the Penguins have turned the puck over too many times high in the offensive zone. So what do? You got to work the puck down lower. Make your plays from down on the goal line around that area. There's too much pressure being presented by Nashville's penalty kill up right along that blue line. You can't make those fancy-dancy plays up there. Get it down low.
A minute 2 to go on the penalty to Volchenkov, and then the Predators will have a power play. 4-on-4 hockey at the moment. Eric Pouliot skating with authority here as he comes to center. Trying to dump it in, but he can't do so. It'll be taken by Lapierre. Lapierre and Adams up front. Martin and Pouliot are back. It is Smith and Ribeiro, the forwards for the Predators in the 4-on-4, with Jones and Ekholm on defense. Up the right wing it comes for Lapierre. He'll skate with the puck now. Turn. Pressured by Ribeiro. He leaves it for Pouliot. Now Paul Martin. Outlet pass for Lapierre. He tried to just push it along for Adams. That didn't connect. Now Adams has it. Craig Adams will gain the blue line. Drop it off to Lapierre. Maxim Lapierre against Ribeiro. Adams follows on and finds Letang, and the shot, and that went off a body and over to the far side, and Ribeiro leaves it for Shea Weber.
Once again, Letang tried a shot pass down low to Lapierre. Instead of just shooting to the goaltender, working for that rebound opportunity, Penguins have looked for that shot pass numerous times in the game, and that really hasn't clicked.
Power play now for the Predators. Weber moves it up high. And across it goes to Yossi. Left side, Neal, and he fired it wide, and a heavy shot bounds off the boards and back into the Predators zone. James Neal gliding around out here. You know he wants to score badly in this game against his former team. And he's going to pick up the puck and come with speed. And he's stripped of the puck nicely by Brandon Sutter. Sutter in a race now with Yossi trying to get to it. Following on to get it. It's falling, and he sent it right through the goal mouth. Now the puck takes a weird bounce backwards, and it's handled by Philip Forsberg. Forsberg jumps it off. 6 seconds to go on the penalty. Neal trying to get it to the net. Poke check by Fleury. Open net, and fanning on it was Fisher. Bortuzzo may have had something to do with that. Shot back to the net and a bouncing puck. It leaves the stick of Forsberg. Taken now by Perron. Penguins at full strength, and they come with speed now to center. Perron's left wing pass for Adams, who's been out here a long time. Did not connect. Now it's Paul Martin. He'll dump it to the corner. Adams goes in after it to the corner. Seth Jones is there. Sends it around to the near side. Zach Sill, Mark Arcabello, and Craig Adams on the ice. Adams turns and goes to the bench. Ron jumped on for Pittsburgh. Gray defending against Ekholm. Sent it in behind the Penguin goal, and Bortuzzo can't play it there. Centered, thrown to the net by Gostet. Sneaky shot there. No damage done, and the puck is cleared ahead by Sill. David Perron couldn't get to it. Weber moves it up the right wing. Takes a bounce right onto the tape But Taylor Beck. He comes around to Prey, around the cage, drops it off. Yossi shoots one. And the save is made by Fleury. Prey couldn't get it out. Comes back to Bortuzzo, to Sill. Sill looks ahead now for Sidney Crosby, trying to get around 3 Predators. And that can't happen, and now it'll be back to Simon Dupre. Works it along to Letang. And back to Dupre. Dupre looks up and will pass it back across to Chris Letang, and ahead now at center. Taken by Kunitz. Got some room down the wing. Crosby was being hooked at center ice by Yarncroke, and then the shot taken wide. There will be a penalty on Yarncroke. The shot by Letang off a stick taken by Kunitz. Penguins continue to hold the puck here with the extra attacker on. Delayed penalty situation. Scuderi across now for Letang. Letang up top to Crosby, a shot save, a rebound cleared at the last second by Gabriel Bourque, and that brings the whistle.
Well, you got to keep fighting. You're down 2-0. You can't accept this tight checking. You fight through it. Crosby fought through it and drew the penalty.
That man is Chuck Cooper III. The first Chuck Cooper, Charles Henry Cooper, was the youngest of 6 children born September 29th, 1926 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And he was the very first player, black player, African-American, to be drafted by an NBA team. And that was done in the second round by the Boston Celtics. And he is being celebrated here today by the Penguins as part of Black History Month. And another power play coming up.
Shot first mentality. That's what you got to look for here right now. And then go to that rebound.
Penguins have had a couple of chances now to get back into this game with the man advantage. This is their 3rd power play chance. Crosby comes to center. Knocked off his stick. The Penguins getting those power play goals against the Winnipeg Jets in the old-fashioned way, which is shooting the puck and going to the net hard for rebounds. Kunitz sends it in behind the net. Crosby works it up top to Letang. Letang back to Sid. He shoots the puck and it hit a man in front. Here's Perron with a backhander, scrambling over. Was Hutton to make a save, but that was after a hand pass had been made, and the whistle blows, and the face-off will come out.
Well, I'll tell you, Sidney Crosby really soaring on that shift. He wanted to go back. He carried the mail himself, and he got it puck back, and he was looking for a shot redirect from Hornqvist or a screen in front there. There's the hand pass they call as the Penguins collapse on that net. Kunitz not agreeing with the call, nor is Hornqvist. Nonetheless, that face-off is coming outside, not all the way down as it would on a high stick. Penguins get the change. They put the second power play unit on the ice, and there should be enough time to get the first power play unit back on if the second doesn't score.
From the draw, Paul Martin. Pouliot. Let's keep our eye on Derek Pouliot. He looked very dangerous on that last power play chance.
Inside you down.
Sutter at center ice. Now for Downey. Downey will control the puck ahead to Paul Martin.
Look at the
pressure. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Pressure against the Penguins defenseman on these penalty kills for Nashville. Martin with it. Drives it in. Sutter on the puck. To Bennett, coming to the net. The shot is stopped, and a rebound cleared away to the near wall, where it's taken by Paul Martin. Bennett moved it to Martin. And across now to Pouliot. His shot is blocked. Tries to get it back. Pouliot doing his best, but he's going to have to get some help from Downey, who got over there to get a stick on it. He's checked by Ekholm. Puck comes free and is taken now on the near wing by Bo Bennett. Second unit still on for the Penguins. Paul Martin. Pouliot holds it. That's the way he dips and dives out there. Keep people guessing which way he's going. Paul Martin with it again to Pouliot. Pouliot with a shot. That is blocked. And the Predators able to clear it all the way down.
Not happy with himself. Just wanted to get that shot through. Another good block. Couple of blocks by the Predators on that penalty kill.
And only 6 seconds left now for the top unit to get another crack at it. Crosby with speed. Shoots it and a blocker save made. 1 second to go. The penalty's over. And look out. Yarncroc is waiting up ice. He just came out of the box, and David Perron able to get a stick on that puck. Prevent it from coming through, and another penalty coming up.
They're going to call it dive as well. They're going to call it an embellishment. Perron's going to get caught for another hook or an interference call. Well, Mike, you got another great opportunity here on a 4-on-4, some open ice. How do you get shots through? You're getting a lot blocked here so far.
Yeah, I think whenever you have lanes taken away from you, you've got to fake the shot, you've got to try and move and open up another lane, or you've got to shoot right away. We've got to shoot quicker at times. That's when I see it from the bench, I see we've just got to move that puck faster.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
We'll take a look at the penalty here. Penalties, really not much either way. Perron, some token interference, if you will, and some embellishment. So we'll get some 4-on-4, some open ice, see what happens.
Yarncroc, originally a Detroit Red Wing, and he kind of fits that mold, doesn't he? The Swedes so prominent in that organization. Puck is cleared out the center and taken now by Shea Weber, who turns for Spaulding. But Spaulding took the puck away, closing in. Spaulding shoots it off the goalpost.
Wow, what a play.
And the other way goes Ribeiro. He's got a man cutting to the net, and a good play by Spaulding to get back and break up that pass. But the Predators get it right back.
Well,
That was Yossi going to the net. Yeah, a great shift for Nick Spaulding. Yossi was the man he prevented from getting the puck. And now carrying it back to center is Zarcabello, and he finds his man on the right side. It's defenseman Dupre trying to come to the net. He'll instead just throw it behind the goal. Hornquist there. He tried to wrap around and couldn't pull that off. Now Hornquist dumps it right back into the corner.
Well, Spaulding looked like he knew what he was doing, or he knew what Weber was doing, because he stayed right on him, stripped the puck, and then he hit the goalpost, blocker side. He went to the weak side of Hutton.
Now it's Martin with an opportunity down the wing. He shoots it, and a blocker save made by Hutton. All of a sudden, the Penguins are forcing some turnovers and getting some opportunities going back the other way.
Now Spaulding on the 4-on-4. He was draped all over Weber, expecting that wraparound, stealing the puck, and then going to the blocker side. On the back check, preventing that play to Roman Yossi on a 2-on-1 from Ribeiro. And Martin had a chance as well on Hutton. He went to the blocker, the netminder. So what a shift for Spaulding. He obviously wanted the puck to go in off that goalpost. A couple of goalposts for the Penguins here in this one this afternoon.
50 seconds remaining in the 4-on-4 situation. Yossi pulls up. And a hit by Scuderi on the near wall, and James Neal, who kept on going after he got dumped by Scuderi with a hip check.
Now, he's not going to fight like Voracek did?
Yeah, right, exactly.
He took the hit, he kept on going, and going to keep playing through. Rob Scuderi, good to see. He's not going to change his ways either with that hip check.
Colin Wilson working hard, and the puck comes down behind the net for Scuderi. Rob Scuderi under pressure from James Neal. Steps away from him, and Neal trying to pick his pocket, and he did force a turnover, and then Scuderi got over there against Colin Wilson, preventing him from going to the goal. And now the puck is sent back up into the Nashville zone. Cabello can't get possession of it, and Shea Weber has it now for the Predators. Weber with a long pass. He tried the stretch pass. The Penguins break it up. Letang moves it ahead for Perron. Gets his feet moving and leaves it for Kunitz. Kunitz with the slap shot off the stick of Weber. Pouliot over to get it for Crosby. Now across for Perron, and his shot is stopped by Hutton, and there's no rebound.
Perron getting lost up at the blue line, then you see him down at the crease. Rob Scuderi with the hipper on James Neal, the ex-Penguin. 2-0 Preds.
2-0 Nashville on the latest edition of In the Room. Follow David Perron in his arrival to Pittsburgh and his first visit to Consol Energy Center. Here Bobby Farnham mic'd up as the Penguins play the Avalanche and much more. In the Room Wednesday at 7 on Root Sports.
Well, the Penguins held the Devils to 14 shots in the last game. They've held the Preds to 11 here.
And they've been holding opponents to fewer shots this year. Or lately, I should say. Well, this year too, but especially lately. With the exception of that game in Washington. Here's Seth Jones down the wing. He's been able to maintain his balance, and Crosby quickly moves it in front of his own net to Letang. And here comes Letang for Crosby. Couldn't center it. Well defended again, and the puck is cleared. Pouliot will take it. He's paired up with Letang now. Perron with it. Dance around Gaustad, who just flicks it off the boards back to center ice. Paul Martin to Letang. Spaulding across to Paul Martin. Ostead. He does cause problems in the neutral zone. He's not an easy guy to get around.
No. Big man. Big man. And now they get the change. Penguins in their neutral zone configuration.
Forsberg comes with speed. He's a shifty player, but he lost the puck. He was poke checked nicely by Bortuzzo, and now Spalling shoots it right to the goal, steered away by Hutton. Hornquist goes crashing in there for the puck along with Nick Spalling. Ribeiro trying to reach around Spalling to get to the puck. Hornquist threw it towards the net. It hit a leg. Comes now to Paul Martin. Martin to Sutter. And Sutter is forced back out to center, but then he did reverse it back down the wall from Martin and now to Spalling. Penguins are changing. Sutter to Hornquist. It's dumped in deep by Adams around to the near wing. Back up top it comes for Spalling, and he tried to get it to the net, and the Predators break that up. It just seems as though the Penguins can get the puck to the offensive zone and control it, but they can't get it into the red zone, if you will, to get a good scoring opportunity.
They need the bus. Where is he? He's in the Hall of Fame. They got to get somebody down there mucking it up the goal line.
There's Volchenkov with it, and he'll fire it up into the corner. Scuderi back for it, and an icing call. Let's go to Dan Potash.
All right, guys, let's bring you our UPMC Sports Medicine injury update. Evgeny Malkin has been out with a lower body injury for the last 4 games, but has been skating on his own, and that includes this morning's effort here on the ice. Gino said yesterday that he feels much better. Will take the trip out to Western Canada. Blake Como, the same thing, out on the ice, trying to rebound from an upper body injury. He will continue to work at home this week, will not make the trip out to Western Canada. Back upstairs to you.
3 games out west. The Edmonton Oilers, the Calgary Flames, and the Vancouver Canucks. Penguins will return home and play the Detroit Red Wings. Crosby goes to work in the corner. Up top it comes. And eventually Pouliot just fires the puck into the corner where Perron throws it right back towards the point. Pouliot stepped up. Wilson shot it by him, but Letang over to play it. And Pouliot spins it into the Nashville zone. It comes right to Kunitz. Right side of Crosby. Up top now to Pouliot. Trying to backhand it to the goal, and it's blocked away nicely by Volchenkov. And the Predators will counter now.
This shift you got Pouliot and Letang together. Last shift it was Martin and Letang. The Penguins trying to get some offense going here. Get on the board before the end of the second.
Letang's got it. Lapierre's on the ice. Kunitz goes to the bench. Arcabello's out here. 2:52 to go in the second period, and the Penguins still continue to trail 2-0. Letang in the neutral zone. Lifted it inside the line. Down to the right wing. It's taken by Gabriel Bourque. He drops it off. Yarncroke with a shot, and a save made by Fleury. And no further play. February 1st of 2010. Great day for hockey, brought to you by Day Automotive. Sidney Crosby recorded his 5th career hat trick.
I'll tell you, he's flying in this hockey game. He's trying to find room. And hopefully everybody can just draft in behind him as they try to get one behind Hutton. No, Pekka Rinne. And I'm looking at the bench right now. I don't even see Simon Dupre on the bench here right now. And he hasn't been on there. And that's another reason I thought maybe they were switching up just looking for offense. But it appears they're down to 5 defensemen right now, the Pittsburgh Penguins, with Simon Dupre not available to them.
Wilson goes back for the puck. Stepping out of there is Seth Jones. And now it's just lifted back up into the Penguins zone by Victor Bartley. The Penguins get there to move it out. Scuderi up the wing now for Sill. Jones stepped up on Sill, but he was able to dump the puck in deep. Weber goes back for it. Lapierre trying to get a hit on him, missed him. But the Penguins end up keeping the puck in the offensive zone. Downey with it, and that's that energy that Lapierre brings. Kind of created that turnover there by just getting in there so hard on Weber, even though he didn't hit Shea Weber. Very aggressive on the forecheck. Now here's Arcabello looking for Lapierre. It comes through. And then driving to the net now is Letang, and he backhanded one to the net and off the side of the cage. Now he's trapped by Matt Cullen. So the Penguins have to have a forward back here as Letang tries to recover. Yarncroke Backhands the puck in behind the Penguins goal, and Fleury will shuffle it along now for Bortuzzo.
Don't be surprised if Letang gets involved on a Penguin goal. He's been involved in the last 7, assisted on the last 7 Penguin markers.
Crosby over to get it on the far boards. Pries it free, but it comes around now for Ekholm. Mattias Ekholm lifts it out to neutral ice. Following on now is Taylor Beck, big strong right winger, powering his way in. Pulls up, drops it off, and the shot taken by Gosted was steered away. Now in behind the net. Predators make something happen here in the final minute of this second period. Crosby looks for the puck. Comes through to Nystrom. He dances around Fleury and scores. Eric Nystrom, the golden opportunity, and he took advantage of it. And it's now 3-0 Nashville with 40.7 seconds to go in the second period.
Now the Penguins trying to make that play up the middle again. Crosby, he knew was coming through his feet and was going to try to play it with the back of his skate. Take a look at this puck as it comes up his backside. He's looking to play with his right skate. Next thing you know, it's turned the other way. What a beautiful move by Nystrom. Beck was able to chip it to him right here. Nystrom behind the Penguins D. And Fleury thought he was going backhand. He turned it back to the forehand and spinning around. With a last-ditch effort, Fleury unable to track that down, and Nystrom with a big goal here for the Predators at the end of this second period.
Sutter digging in now. There's Sutter's dad. Brent Sutter played with Eric Nystrom's father, Bobby Nystrom, with the Islanders. The loose puck squirts free. And up the wing now it comes for Craig Smith, and he'll lug it back for the Predators. Maybe another rush for Nashville here with 15 seconds remaining in the period. Sutter over to the puck. Sutter works it ahead now for Hornquist. He just dumps it to the corner. Ribeiro goes back to get it now for the Predators. And they'll be able to try to control the puck here for the final seconds. They get it out to center, and that's it. Boy, the Penguins were within 2, but now it's a tough mountain to climb in the third period against a team that has been a tremendous third period team this year.
Yeah, I agree. And they don't even have Pekka Rinne in their net, and they haven't found one yet, have the Pens?
Nope, and only 16 shots for Pittsburgh, only 14 for the Predators. And the score is 3-0 Nashville as we go to Paul and Jay.
All right, Staggy, thank you very much. And the Penguins, I thought, by creating penalty opportunities with the power play there, maybe to turn something, but when you don't get a goal out of it, it kind of works the other way sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. They're squeezing a little tight at the end here because you get on the power play, the fans are behind it, like wanting them to shoot the puck, and all the things you start hearing, the guys understand it, but 0 for 3 on the power play, that's a huge story in the second period, and then the late goal. Again, when you go up through the middle, it's got to be tape to tape. You can't even have, you can't put it in a guy's skates. That's just the way it goes, and they picked it off, made a good play to finish it. The 3-0 score, a tough one, but they got to pull it together, get in between periods, and come out with a plan and come and play hard.
Straight ahead, our Mercedes second intermission report. Dan Potash standing by with Nick Spaulding. That and plenty more straight ahead right here on Root Sports. It's a 3-0 lead for Nashville after 2 periods of play. If you're just joining us, here's what you missed.
Turning with it now is Forsberg to Josi. The one-timer, and he scores. It may have been deflected in. They look like they've got good energy. Here's a chance at front. They score. And it was Gabriel Bork on a turnover, just slamming that puck past Fleury to make it 2-0. Puck is cleared out the center and taken now by Shea Weber, who turns for Spaulding. But Spaulding took the puck away. Closing in. Spaulding shoots it off the goalpost. Crosby looks for the puck. Comes through to Nystrom. He dances around Fleury and scores. Boy, you turn the puck over, Bob, it ends up in your own net. That's just that kind of game. There's not a lot of margin for error here, but when you make one, or at least when the Penguins have made them, they've really had to pay for them.
The forecheck really of the Predators, that's the difference I see in their game. They're more aggressive. They're still structured. They have the great defense. Guys like Roman Josi with 19 minutes in the game and another 4 shots and 3 that haven't got through. He's a star. He's a stud. You look at Seth Jones and Shea Weber. They're a tough team to get through. And then you look down the middle of the ice. You got good, solid centermen with Forsberg, and you got Fisher back in the hockey game. You got a 6'5" giant in Gosted. Just a real solid hockey game, Staggy, and team.
Let's take a look at some of the pictures that were tweeted in, brought to you by Point Park University. And those outdoor rinks in the Pittsburgh area and around other states too. Cary, Illinois, I believe that was. by pretty quickly. And then we're going to show you one that we're really proud of. We featured it on In the Room, I believe. And that's the backyard rink of one Billy Guerin. There it is right there. That's a tough act to follow there, so we put it last.
Picture perfect, isn't it? Yeah, that blue paint right there, that's where the Penguins got to get to. That blue area right there. To match that blue shirt of Mike Johnson. And there's Laviolette. I wonder if he's getting his ribs down at work after the game.
Well, he certainly has a track record of winning games here in Pittsburgh, no matter who he's coaching, and he's on the way maybe to another one here today, leading 3-0 as we start the third period. Icing is called. There's Billy Guerin looking on, Penguins assistant GM. This is a day where maybe Evgeny Malkin could make a big difference. The Penguins don't have that game breaker in the lineup today. The Predators have their full complement of players, and in a game like this where you're matching up against what might be the best team in the NHL, and the Predators are right behind the Anaheim Ducks in the standings, you'd like to have all hands on deck if you could. Especially a Penguin team that's built from those top two superstars down, Crosby and Malkin. They've done a good job in the absence of Malkin over the years. They're playing a really good team here today. Here's Lapierre with it now over to Arcobello, and he'll send it back around for Scuderi to Paul Martin. Lapierre can't catch up with it at center ice. This dumped in by Downey, though. Just for the record, the Penguins are 65-34-9 in 100 games, 108 games without Evgeny Malkin. Now it's to Pouliot, to Kunitz, and he'll slide it up into the Nashville zone. The Penguins would love to get a goal early here. Get this crowd into it. With some belief. Here's Letang faking the shot, throwing it to the net. He just missed. Nystrom over to get it for Nashville. Letang will carry it now at center ice. Shoots it up high on Carter Hutton, and he'll hold on to it.
You know, Letang's going to get involved in this third period. He'll be up ice as much as he can. His partner, Simon Dupre, is back on the bench for Pittsburgh. He's only played 8 minutes and 39 seconds. He was out at the end of the second period. Back here to start the third period of play, and they're going to switch sides, he and Dupre, if they get this face-off win.
Sutter will take the draw against Gaustad.
The puck didn't even hit the ice, did it? I was looking to see who was going to win that face-off. Next thing you know, the puck's in the corner. As those two face-off combatants, Sutter and Gaustad, really got their noses in and were butting horns.
Now we get a whistle, and let's take a look at that face-off again.
Yeah, well, Sutter likes to get his nose in there, and Gaustad, look how close they are. I mean, they're right on top of each other. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't, but you can just see them hit the tops of their sticks, yeah. And went right into the corner. Gaustad's going to get the win there at 6'5" and a bit. Gets underneath somehow of Sutter.
Got a lot of tricks, Paul Gaustad. One of the reasons why he's been one of the top face-off men in the league for a long time. Fifth in the NHL right now, coming into the game anyway, at 57%. Letang on the near side, bumped by Craig Smith. He goes down in a heap. Hornquist down the slot with a backhand shot just wide. Going to the net hard with Sutter. He got pushed into the goaltender.
I don't know if he got pushed. I think he might be going to the penalty box, Staggy, as Volchenkov did take one penalty on Arcobello earlier in the game. This time Sutter was right on top of Hutton, and I believe that he's going to get the interference call. Sutter is. Let's take a look. And he was pushed in. Definitely pushed in by Volchenkov as he tried to establish position. There you see the follow through. And Sutter's pushed in, but nonetheless, from our Super Mo presented by Allegheny Health Network, Sutter's going to be the man going to the box. But I can understand the argument.
The Predators with a man advantage for the third time in the game. They're 0 for 2.
And they just show it on the big screen here, Mitsubishi Electric, and the fans aren't agreeing with the call either.
And Mike Johnston shaking his head. We got a shot of him shaking his head when he saw the replay, so he didn't like the call either. Here's Adams with it. He wants his players to get to the paint, get touches in the paint, as he puts it.
No, he said, yeah, we showed the rink. He said, get to the blue paint.
And look at this comparison here in terms of the power play. And Mike Johnson very animated on the bench right now. And you can see that both teams have won a lot of games when they have the power play advantage and score a power play goal. But the Predators have done a good job even when they don't score a power play goal. They don't have one in this game, and they've got a 3-0 lead. Penguins really rely on their power play, and it's come up empty tonight. 0 for 3 so far, and they could have used one in that second period to stay in this game. Now the Predators looking to really pull away here with a power play goal.
They could use a shorthanded goal, but their shorthanded sniper is in the box in Sutter.
And another shot of Johnson on the screen. Very animated. There's a shot that hits Bortuzzo in front. Comes through now to LaPierre, and he'll slap it all the way down.
How do you like Roman Josi, Staggy? He's played 19 minutes coming into this period. Nobody's got more shots. He's got 4 on net. He's got 3 that have been blocked, and he just had another one blocked there. This guy is very dominant, and he's a +2 in the game. He was the MVP in the World Championships a couple of years ago. What a tremendous hockey player.
Actually reminds me of Letang a little bit, the way he plays.
Switzerland. Yep.
Left-handed shot, but his body type, the way he's up and down the ice.
Yeah, plays both sides of the puck.
Yep. Now Letang with it, and he'll try to get it ahead, but Colin Wilson kept it in the zone. Smith, and in behind the net now Zach Sill has poked it to the corner. Wilson has it there for Nashville. Out to Seth Jones and back to Wilson. Wilson goes across. Centering pass, and nobody could get a stick on it. Comes back to Seth Jones. Smith in the high slot. Ribeiro pulls up on the near wall as they go D to D up top. Seth Jones with it with 14 seconds left on the penalty. Ribeiro to the puck, darting with it. Moving it out to Wilson on his backhand. He shoots it. And it came off a leg and wide, and now Letang wrists it off the boards and all the way down the ice to kill the rest of that penalty to Sutter. Jones steps out quickly from his own zone ahead of Josi. Now in the middle for Gausted, who's dumped it in. The Predators do get in there quickly with 2 men, but the Penguins move the puck by them, and they get a chance coming the other way. Look at the Predators, though. They got 4 players back. And they're really skating well right now. Bortuzzo. Now to Crosby, and he can't get around the defense. Bortuzzo tapped it back to center. Taylor Beck dumps into the Penguin zone, and back to get it goes Robert Bortuzzo. And they're not sitting back, are they, Bob? No. They get that forecheck going. They're coming after you.
No, they force you there, and they keep the third man high. They're a very well-schooled team, almost in transition with 2 different coaches. You get a solid defensive structure, and then with the coaching change, you bring a little more offense to the game. Really solid team.
Blocker save made by Fleury, and they've got a couple more players in their lineup who can hurt you now with Philip Forsberg leading all rookies in scoring. Coming into the game with 42 points. Where's James Neal with that firepower that he brings, and Ribeiro too. We were talking to Barry Trotz when he was in town. He said, I never had a guy like Ribeiro, and he was kind of joking, but he wasn't. I mean, I think he was serious in the sense that he didn't have a player who was that creative to create an ignite offense the way he can. Now Fisher clears the puck back to center, so it's a different looking Nashville team. One of the best in the league right now. Here's Fisher with it on the right wing. He tried to get it to the net. Back into the corner goes Neal, right through the goal mouth. Taken now by Dupre, who wheels the puck up the right wing for Steve Downey and out to center ice, where it's gloved down by Arcabello to LaPierre. Trying to get around Seth Jones. It's a tough task. And Jones just works it ahead now for Wilson. He's checked by Paul Martin, but it comes right through to Victor Bartley, and out now towards the right wing, and Neal, but picked off by Derek Pouliot. Look at him skate. Pouliot, when he's got the puck on his stick, is something to watch, boy. Here he goes into the right wing corner with the puck. Sends it back around to the far corner. Sutter's after it. Pokes it back to the point. Spaulding just wrists it right back in deep. Sutter's there. If the Penguins can get one, they could turn this into a very interesting third period. Got to get on the board, get the crowd into it. Now the Predators come back to center ice. Number 63 is Mike Ribeiro. Dangling, and he lost it. There's a turnover that could hurt the Predators if the Penguins can make them pay. Here's Spaulding into the Nashville zone. Spaulding on his backhand. Get the puck turned around to shoot it. Crosby working extremely hard. Got the puck to Letang. Back to Crosby. The slap shot, and he hit a man in the slot. He hit Ekholm, and it hurt him. He's still hobbling. And now it's Philip Forsberg winding it up. He's tripped by Crosby. That'll be a penalty. Not much of one, but enough. And Forsberg still skating with the puck. Drops it off to Smith. His shot, and off a stick and wide. And over to get it, Crosby, but the Predators got there first. This is Neal in the slot. Look out. Neal shoots it. That hit a leg in front. Extra attacker on. Hutton's out of the net. And the Penguins finally get possession.
Sid's going to the box.
87 Pittsburgh, 2-inch slash.
That's all it is. It's a little bit with a stick on the leg and short. Now Pecorine not in action right now. A lower body injury. And this morning he was on the ice. Taking some shots. There's Olli Jokinen.
They're 2-2-2 without him. Coming into this game, they had allowed 3 or more goals in 5 of the 6 games that he was absent. But today, they've yet to allow a goal. And he is one of the really nice guys in hockey, like a real gentleman. When he came back to the lineup last year, remember when we played them his first game back from that horrible infection that he had. Everybody was really impressed with the way he conducted himself with the media. Pecorine is a real star in Nashville. Here's Neal dumping the puck in. Predators are 0 for 3 with a man advantage. Scuderi winds it around and off the glass and back into the Nashville zone.
That's why he used the glass, because Weber came in with the partitions and the puck head high. Pretty tough to keep a puck in. Good clear by Bortuzzo.
Neal with it. He fires it in. In the last game, the Predators lost 3-0. It was their 8th straight home game, which is a record for their club. Here's Fisher moving it up top to Josi. Josi switches places with Weber and leaves it on the right wing. Fisher's in the high slot. And Neal in front of the net, and they shoot and score. James Neal creating the screen. And the Predators have made it 4-0 with a power play goal.
Well, Marc-Andre Fleury was all on one side of the net, his left side, and the puck went in off the stick of Fisher. He just ripped it in that high slot area. And take a look where Neal is, and Fleury's going to look around his left side, and Fisher's going to go into the high slot. There's the little feed, and the net wide open to the blocker side as it goes off the stick of Bortuzzo and up in behind Marc-Andre Fleury. He's screened by not only Neal, but really more by Robert Bortuzzo there, who's got to be out further on top of that blue paint. He can't be right in the blue paint. Marc-Andre Fleury can't see around him, nor can he cut any angle down.
That's what Mike Johnson refers to as a double screen. You're going to avoid that. Defensemen have to be in good position there. Neal, the net front presence on that power play goal.
That looked too easy. It looked too easy. Allowing the pass to the middle of the ice and the puck going in there behind Marc-Andre Fleury.
Tough afternoon for the Penguins here on their home ice, and they were in the game for a while. The big goal, of course, the one coming at the end of the second period by Eric Nystrom on a turnover by Crosby. And once they made it 3-0, you felt like the Penguins were going to have a really tough time getting back into this thing. The Predators, as I was pointing out, Bob, having played 8 straight on their home ice and going through a little bit of a tough time down the stretch prior to this game here, this first road game. And I'm thinking of the Penguins going on the road. I mentioned it to Nick Spaulding in New Jersey, and he agreed that he thinks it might be good for the Penguins to get away now on a long road trip. They really haven't had one in a long time. They're going to go out to Western Canada, play 3 games and be together, leaving actually tomorrow. And the first game is until Wednesday. Here's Perron with it on the right wing.
Josi picked an assist up. Forsberg as well on that Fisher goal, the 12th of the season for Mike Fisher, and only his 28th game.
They now have 7 power play goals in their last 8 games, and 4 of those 7 power play goals have been scored by Fisher. Here's Crosby with it now. Across, looking for a man cutting in, Pouliot. Derek Pouliot trying to get it away from the Predators. Kunitz there as well, and he took it away from Fisher. Out to Sutter, his shot hit a shin guard and comes over to Neal. Neal wants to get it out. He hands it off to Yossi, who clears it back to center. Still a lot of time left in this game, too, Bob.
No, there really is. Penguins weren't happy with the last 2 penalty calls. Just that light stick by Crosby. Remember the Sutter call as he was pushed in by Volchenkov. So I think the Predators are up to 16 or 17 blocks already in this game. It's been tough to get shots through.
Fleury shovels it up the near wall. Penguins shut the Predators out earlier this year in Nashville, and now they're in danger of being shut out. That was a 3-0 score. This one's 4-0. A big night coming up from Consol Energy Center and on Root Sports with our Penguins charity auction on February 17th. You can help support the Mario Lemieux and Penguins Foundations by purchasing a Pens black or gold bag filled with unique memorabilia. Select black bags and all gold bags will include an autographed Penguins jersey. And that charity auction on Root Sports starts February 17th at 6 o'clock. We've raised a lot of money because of you and the support we've gotten from you viewers and from the fans here in the building.
Laviolette asked Mike Fisher, how you feeling? I could take a break, he said, and that's what he gets. He gets the timeout. Timeout Nashville.
The man to the left of Laviolette, right on your screen, is Phil Housley, the great offensive defenseman. Philip Forsberg is a solid candidate, probably the leading candidate for the Calder Trophy that goes to the Rookie of the Year in the NHL.
Yeah, a couple more assists in this hockey game, plus 25. I mean, already boasting a solid defensive centerman in Gostin and Fisher. And then they get Forsberg in the mix, who gets to buy in. And tell you, real impressive hockey team right here. And when we talk about a team, any team that can come into Pittsburgh and be up 4-0 in the third period, you know they're a good hockey team.
Well, you talk about trophies. I mean, you know, he could win the Calder. You could very well see Peter Laviolette win the Jack Adams Award as the Coach of the Year. You could see Pekka Rinne win the Vezina and Shea Weber win the Norris.
And how about the Hart? You don't say that he couldn't win the Hart either, Pekka Rinne.
Absolutely.
So they could get a lot of hardware.
Well, they could put all those trophies in the Country Music Hall of Fame, Bobby. There's a shot by Max LaPierre. We visited that when we were in Nashville. Had a good time.
Right beside Carrie Underwood's trophies. Wife of Mike Fisher. Well, our Subway sandwich tonight really is from down under. And that's a submarine right there. Scuderi on Neal. The old-fashioned hip check.
He's good at those, isn't he?
He is. He is. Some people don't like it. Neal just played right through it. His ex-teammate.
What was really not liked is when a guy goes so low that he takes his knees round. That's what Darius Kasparaitis used to do in the old days. Remember that, Bob?
Oh, of course I remember. He took my knee out once, and I had to go to the dressing room for a while. I thought he had blown my knee out. Unfortunately, I was one of the lucky few, and many weren't.
He was really built low to the ground, and he could really get low when he would hit you with that hip. Scuderi built much differently than Kasparaitis was. 8:23 remaining in this game, and the Predators with a commanding 4-0 lead in the hockey game. They led 3-0 after 2. Here comes Smith. Forsberg with a quick release. Now it comes out for Ribeiro, and he slams one off the glass. Seth Jones feeds it down low. Ribeiro behind the net. Predators are still looking for more here. A shot from a sharp angle by Forsberg was stopped by Fleury at the post. Sutter sends it ahead. The Penguins have held the shot totals down a lot lately, as we mentioned earlier. Under 30 against the Hawks, the Jets, and the Devils. They had a tough night in Washington. And the Predators here with only 19 shots on goal. Here's Kunitz in the slot. He shoots it, and a save by Carter Hutton, and he's got the puck controlled. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Carter Hutton, this is his 12th game, 2-4 on the season, .296 and an .893 save percentage. They just really haven't got those second opportunities on him that they were looking for in this hockey game. Hit a goal post. LaPierre hit a goal post, as did Spalling hit a goal post. It would have made it 2-1 in the second period of play after he stripped the puck from Shea Weber. But it wasn't to be. That man, Dupre, found a goal post in New Jersey, a goal posted in for a win in overtime. Only 2.5 minutes of ice time for Simon Dupre in this third period.
Penguins have won 5 straight games against the Predators coming into this one. LaPierre to the far wall, now across for Dupre. His slap shot is blocked by Eric Nystrom. And the Predators dump it into the Penguin zone. Well, there will be a back-to-back situation this week with Edmonton and Calgary, so you got to figure Thomas Greiss will play one of those 2 games. And those won't be easy games. Even the Edmonton game won't be easy. The Calgary Flames are very much in the playoff picture right now. Shot by Matt Cullen is stopped by Fleury. Tried to corral his own rebound. Up to the point now. The shot taken by Bartley is off a stick wide of the goal. Spaulding trying to get a hold of it, and now it is Pouliot back around behind for Robert Bortuzzo. Up the wing now for Downey.
That pass there, Downey's got a man draped on him. You just want the defenseman to put it off the glass behind you. You can't make a play when there's a man, the defenseman, pinching down on you there.
When you look at the Predators, Bob mentioned earlier in the game how they look down the middle. That's one of the big strengths of their team as Silk comes in over the line, shoots it down low. Hutton shrugs that one away, and now it's over to Bo Bennett. Works it back into the corner. Penguins go to work down low. It's Craig Adams, Sill, and Bo Bennett actually centering this fourth line. Or would it be Sill in the middle? I guess it would be, or it could be Adams. I'm not sure who's actually the center on this unit here. And now here's Sill after the puck, lifting the man's stick in the corner. Seth Jones. Bo Bennett follows on. And Adams now to the puck, and then we get a whistle. We'll return to Consol Energy Center in a moment. Snowing outside, and it's a 4-0 lead for the Predators. As we promised you earlier in the game, it is Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Well, Eric Nystrom with a beautiful, beautiful effort against Marc-Andre Fleury. A little shake and bake and go into the forehand, Staggy. So his 6th of the season for Nystrom.
Bobby, the Penguins will drop to 2-5-1 in their last 8 afternoon games. We talked earlier in the game about Mike Johnston wanting his team to be more ready today than they were for that Ranger game, and they certainly were. Predators took control of the game early with 2 goals and then got another one late in the second, the one you just saw. That really was their killer. They've added here in the third period. And a lot of folks have left the building, get a jump on the traffic, get home and watch the big game today. And here's Paul Martin. Sutter trying to get a hold of it in neutral ice. Philip Forsberg with it. Deep. Paul Martin takes control with 4:40 to go. Penguins will head west. They regroup after this one. Predators going to get Pekka back and keep this ball rolling for them. Here's a shot by Dupre, and that hit the goalpost. And he looked like he had himself another goal. He dumps the puck in behind the net. Crosby there. Up the wall it comes, and it did go off the screen or off the netting, and that'll be a whistle and a face-off coming up to the left of Carter Hutton working on this shutout.
Now take a look at that opportunity. Dupre. 3 shutouts on the season as that one goes off the crossbar. 3 shutouts for the Predators, all from Pekka Rinne this year.
Yep, Hutton has 1 career shutout to his credit. Dupre with a shot, and the Predators just get it out. Nystrom got dumped in neutral ice by Dupre, and Letang with it. Sidney Crosby winds it up. Malkin's not far from returning. He's going to go on the trip, I think, with the Penguins out west. So we could see him in the lineup as soon as Wednesday against the Edmonton Oilers. And the Penguins can use him back in the lineup. Blake Comeau will not make the trip, but could very well be ready when the Penguins return to meet the Detroit Red Wings. And a lot of us are really curious to see how the Penguins are going to look when they get a full complement of players. And let's hope they stay relatively healthy on the upcoming road trip so we can get a feel for that.
Chris Letang got tied up with Bourque. I don't know if he took a stick somewhere around the leg or in the stomach, Staggy, and somewhere in the midsection, and he went off.
Move it.
Hunched over into the Penguins bench.
Seth Jones moves it to the left side to Victor Bartley, who banks it up into the Penguin zone. And going back to get it goes Derek Pouliot. And back in behind the net. Bortuzzo trying to get to it. 2:56 to go. Penguins are still working here, but they cannot get on the board against Carter Hutton. They'd love to get one. Here's Seth Jones over to Bartley with a slap shot. Shot it wide on purpose. Bortuzzo had it on a stick, and then a quick shot by Järnkrok is stopped by Fleury. Set it up again from deep in their own zone. Jones is holding on to the puck for an eternity.
Why not? The Penguins aren't pressuring.
Bartley carries it to center and drives it into the Penguin zone. Hard around, racing over Fisher. Throws it to the corner. Scuderi there, banks it off the glass. Fisher held it in. Now the pass to the left side, and the shot by Ekholm is stopped by Fleury. And another faceoff coming up in the Penguin zone.
Take a look here at the inadvertent stick, it looked like, by Bourque. Catching Letang in around that midsection area, Staggy. So we'll see if we see. Yep, this is Letang back on the ice now. He was hit by Nystrom, you can remember, a couple of years ago. Nystrom with that beautiful goal here for Nashville this afternoon.
Chris Letang takes it. Bray will carry it. Drops it off. Pass ahead to Sutter and a backhander blocked. Minute 45 to go. Penguins have already lost 7 home games this year. They're headed to a record of 17-8-3 on home ice.
2-on-1 here.
Yep, Wilson down the wing. He's got Neal going to the net. Wilson swooping into the slot, drops it off, and the shot by Volchenkov was blocked by Sutter. He comes back with Letang. And Letang leads the rush into the zone and finds Hornquist. He throws it deep on purpose, and the bank off the boards is gloved by Hutton.
Well, Letang's taken some bumps this year, and he took a big bump from Nystrom a couple years back, Staggy, and sometimes you just worry about all the hits that Letang takes. And certainly, as we've shown over the course of the last couple of weeks, he's really had a target on his back. He's assisted on the last Penguins 7 goals. We mentioned that, and that streak, I guess, has a chance to continue.
Taylor Beck wheels it in behind the net. Collision down there in the corner. And emerging with the puck is Lapierre. Derek Pouliot. And Pouliot really likes to take unique paths as he comes through the neutral zone with that puck, and the puck goes out of play.
Like playing a video game with Pouliot.
It does look like that. Here's your league standings where the Predators are. They're going to move into a tie with Anaheim. The Blues were winners today. And Montreal finally lost a game. They've been playing on the edge for a couple of games and finding ways to win.
1-0, 1-0. Pacioretty been a hero there. Good goaltending.
How's that situation in Toronto going since they fired Randy Carlyle? Any information on that for me, Bob?
Well, they're getting closer to Connor McDavid.
Yeah, they are. That's a good point.
You got to look at it both ways.
28 seconds remaining on this Sunday afternoon game for the Pittsburgh Penguins against the Nashville Predators, who came in here to Pittsburgh with a purpose. A shot from the right side by Seth Jones is handled by Marc-Andre Fleury. They haven't been playing all that well lately. They were 1-2-2 in their last 5. Shut out in their last game by Colorado. The Avs, after that game, Bob, Patrick Waugh said it was the best game we played for 60 minutes all year.
Well, they have a shot, the Avs. They're starting to play better. They got their goaltender back. And, you know, Washington, they had lost 4 games. They defeated the Penguins 4-0. And the same thing here. You know, teams go through streaks, ups and downs. You've got to try to minimize the downs if you can.
Bouncing puck in front of Fleury with 4 seconds to go. And time will tick away here, and Carter Hutton will pick up his second career shutout, his first of the season. That's a huge win for the Predators here today in Pittsburgh. A real confidence booster, winning it without Pekka Rinne. And he is our McDonald's player of the game, the goaltender of the Predators.
Impressive team performance. That's how the Predators are going to do it. Moving forward in the playoffs, they have a real shot to do some real damage there. They're so solid through the middle, the blue line, and in goal, and we saw that here. And they still do have the ability to put the puck in the net, Staggy.
Let's go to Paul and Jay for the postgame.
All right, Staggy and Bob, thank you very much. And Jay, certainly a good look at Nashville, that 3-0 shutout by the Penguins earlier in the year.
Right.
Looks like they may have had a little score to settle. They certainly did so here today.
Yeah, they just played. They played hard right from the get-go. They had a tough travel coming in, and they came out. They came out with a purpose, played the game really hard. And again, we don't know what the final hits were, but if you looked at that stat alone, they finished off. The third and fourth lines to them were very effective. And not only on the score sheet, but just in the game, the way they forechecked. One guy went hard, second guy behind the net, always a guy high. They were responsible that way. Shea Weber, really good on the blue line. And we didn't even get to see him really get a few blasts off from the point. But again, one of those games, Nashville just certain times wanted it more.
And in their own end, blocking so many shots. Penguins had so much trouble getting shots on goal today. It is Nashville 4, the Penguins nothing. Jay and I will break it all down next right here on Penguins Postgame, only here on Root Sports.